Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Today we're going to go over our big opening day hot takes, bold takes, whatever you want to call it. We have 6 of them for you coming right up.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. But the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedonmlb and use code all in lowercase LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. I did want to mention that the Blue Jays did drop a 4-3 defeat to the Pirates today in their final spring training game. And yeah, we got a ton of bold / hot takes coming at you guys. We each took 3. We're going to sort of give you our reaction, our thoughts on each of them, the likelihood of them happening as we're getting pretty pumped up for the season here. But before we, really dive too deep into, all the hot takes, I'll say, it's a household competition week in fantasy, NHL fantasy. Me and Carter play each other today or this week in the championship round. I think the winner gets a couple $100. The loser, I think, doubles their entry fee. So we're both in the money round. But Carter, how do you see this going? Are you very confident? Are you a little nervous? I know the last 2 years haven't been too kind to you.
Yeah, over the last 2 years, in the finals twice, haven't come out with a championship yet. This year, I tried to build my team off of more depth as opposed to like more scoring, get some hat tricks, maybe some luckier weeks. I tried to ride it out, get some consistency, and I've gotten that. But the problem is now I got your team that's a little bit more boom or bust. So it kind of just depends on, I think, how your team plays and maybe you get some hat tricks out of the boys.
Yeah, I mean, I think as we're starting this, we're recording late Monday night, and I am up. I had quite a few more games than you, and the Canucks boys just aren't doing it for me tonight. They're having a rough sort of go at it. But it's going to be interesting. We did sort of say we wanted to put a little side wager on this, and since FanDuel is such a huge sponsor of ours on most episodes, we thought that we would bet the winner gets an extra $20 that they have to put down towards picks, either on FanDuel or Prize Picks. We haven't made a decision yet. I think we'll do it just sort of whatever you feel. How do you feel about that? Like, are you like pumped that you're gonna secure extra money off this 20 if you win?
Well, the thing about it is that I win, a couple $100, whatever. But then I get your $20, and then I double that immediately with the win on Prize Picks or FanDuel. We'll see what happens. And then I double that, $80, and this could become a business for me. I could become my own sports gambling host, I guess you could say.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Broker, yeah. Maybe I'll start a TikTok about it too. Who knows? I got to see how the winnings go. So far, I mean, my betting history has been very mid to say the least. I'm about 50-50, so probably not going to be seeing that anytime soon. But I will be looking forward to any free money from you that I can get.
Yeah, well, I hope not. We're sitting at 9.4 to 2.2 right now in favor of me. But, it's first day. That doesn't tell you a whole lot. It hasn't been a great day for my guys. But I think let's get right into the hot takes. I'll guess I'll let you kick it off if you want. I think you had one that was sort of up my alley. I knew that.
Yeah, I'm not going to start with that one, though. But I'm going to kind of just fire out of a cannon, I think, to start. I'm going to go with my boldest take that I think I have on this. Maybe it won't be that bold depending on how he pitches this season. He gave you an electric start in his first game back in spring training. And my bold take is Kevin Gausman, AL Cy Young winner. This is his year. You've seen it with the strikeouts. He comes back, first appearance, 7 Ks over 3 innings. Are you kidding me? This guy's absolutely nuts. I'm fully into this guy. Garrett Cole's out for the first month or two of the season. That takes him out of the running. You do have guys like Sonny Gray, other great pitchers in this division. But you got Shane McClanahan, another guy that's always in contention who's out for this year. I think it's Kevin Gausman's year to run with it. You get the strikeouts. You get more consistency. Maybe you help him out with the bats. You finally give Kevin Gausman run support for once in his Blue Jays career. So I think Kevin Gausman, that's my bold take, Cy Young winner.
Yeah, he's been sort of we've talked about this, but he's been getting screwed year after year. It seems like he's been just so steady, so good, very consistent, and just not really getting rewarded for it. If it's the team not helping him out, if it's, maybe not getting as much media attention as he should have been, with the whole Alek Manoah up and down and down and down and down and down and down controversy going on. But yeah, I like this a lot. I think Kevin Gausman is the guy that definitely has the most potential in this team, obviously. And I'm going to say it. Maybe we'll do a little like hot or not. And I'm going to say this is not the hottest of takes. I like this one.
That's interesting. Maybe we're showing a little bit of Jay's bias here,
For
but
sure.
I think it's Kevin Gausman's year. I don't think it's that black and white. There's a lot of good pitchers. Baseball's hard to predict. We'll see what happens, but I'm all in on Kevin Gausman this year.
I like that a lot. I got some a little bit. I got one of my hot takes are against the Jays. The other two are for the Jays. I thought we all went for. I thought I'd throw a little wrinkle in as well. But I'm going to start with a pretty hot one, debatably. Maybe not. Maybe some of you see this anyway. But I'm going to say Vlad hits 35 plus home runs. In 2023, he hit 26. 2022, he hit 32. And in 2021, he hit 48. So I think this is sort of a little bit middle of the pack for his last few years. And I think we've talked about it. We see a huge bounce back for Vlad this year. So I'm hammering the Vlad 35 plus home runs.
I think I would have liked that bet a little bit better for a hot take if you bumped it up to 40, but I do respect it. Vladdy hasn't shown the consistency over the last couple of years. I think that one's more of a gimme, maybe a more popular bet that we will see out of some of the fans here. I think everyone's kind of on the Vladdy train, as we all should be every year, hoping that this guy can replicate his 2021 season. But if you get 35 home runs out of Vladdy, I think all of us as a fan base will be pretty happy with that season. That's
Definitely.
9 more home runs. Obviously, you'll get the RBIs up. The OPS will go up with those 40 or 35 home runs as well. I like the pick, but I can definitely see that happening. And that takes me into probably the least bold pick out of my three. And it's about a guy that's had a lot of offseason hype, and that is Dalton Varsho. We've seen it so far in spring training. We've known that Guillermo Martinez and Hunter Ments have gone to his hometown multiple times to help him out at the plate, try to figure out, get more bat to the ball skills, hopefully figure out that launching a little bit more for Varsho as a guy that when he pulls home runs, it is so awesome to see. And that's kind of the way I'm going with this bet I have here. So my hot take is Dalton Varsho, 30 home runs, 20 steals. So two things he's never done in his career. He's hit 27, I believe, is his highest home run total. And that was, I believe it was 2022. And then for the steals, the Blue Jays just are a team that doesn't really steal a lot with their players, even though there has been a history of guys that have been quick on this team. You go back to guys like Rajay Davis. I know Bo Bichette is a guy that's pretty quick, deceivingly fast, haven't really used his stealing ability. A ton of guys. George Springer can steal bases. You don't really see that being used too often on this team because we're used to relying on the bats to get the ball, to get runs in. We're used to relying on the long ball. Other than last season, it seemed like you got throughout history, you got Carlos Delgado, Jose Bautista, Edwin, your boy, Josh Donaldson, guys that rely on the long ball. So with his steals, I think that's going to be the part that I'm more worried about actually than the home runs. I know he hasn't hit 30 home runs in his career, but I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Dalton Varsho this spring training. I think the power's there. I think he's going to be very productive in this Blue Jays lineup.
I 100% agree. I said I was very high on the Dalton Varsho resurgence. I'm not even sure if it should be a resurgence or if it's just a explosion because I think he's going to have a good season. Even in spring training, you're seeing the little things that you notice he wasn't doing right last year. He's switched and he's fixed. You can see it in his swing in spring training. That's what I like to see. And that's what spring's so good about the spring training games is you can see the little things the guys have worked on. Just like Vladdy and his swing plane and his swing path, right? It's changed so much from last year, even just watching the two side by side. So Dalton Varsho, I'm 100%. I don't know if he's going to hit 30. I said I think I would be more comfortable with the 25 plus. The 20 stolen bases is iffy, but he's got the power. He's got the speed to do it. And I think it's just if he's used in those situations. But yeah, I could see 25-ish home runs in the 20 steals. I'm more comfortable with that. But as a bold hot take, I like the 30.
Yeah, Dalton Varsho with this season, the thing I like about Dalton Varsho is he figured out his swing in the offseason. Last season, there was always a lot of talk about Dalton Varsho making some sort of adjustment to his swing throughout the season, whether that was getting to the ball quicker, just changing up his mechanics slightly. And that's usually something that only happens if you're struggling throughout the season. You don't see a guy like Aaron Judge switching his swing midway through the season when he's on pace to hit 55, 60 home runs every year. So with Dalton Varsho, it's nice to see the consistency in his swing. And I'm, along with a lot of fans, I hope, on the Dalton Varsho train because we need this guy to hit the baseball hard if we want this team to be successful in 2024.
100% agree. I said when we were talking about breakout players and the players that are going to be the most impactful this year, I could see Dalton Varsho, like we said, being one of those most impactful players. If he's on, it gives that Blue Jays so much more depth, so much more power. And I think he has the ability to do it. It's just if he can put everything together. Um, as we said, coming up Thursday, opening day, we have a live stream we're going to do right after the last pitch of the game. We're going to start that stream. You guys can come in. We'll sort of take all your comments. We'll talk about everything as much as we can anyway. Have a good time with it. We're just going to enjoy it. We're going to have a nice day. You know, I work till 1. I get home, you know, maybe take a quick nap, watch the Blue Jays game, go on the live stream. It's going to be just a great day of sports and baseball and everything. It's going to be so much fun, Carter. And it'll just be cool, I think, to interact with everybody as well that joins the stream.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said last podcast, the raw emotion's a lot more interesting to see than something where you have a little bit of more time to digest it. Yeah, we might overreact a little bit, but I think that's the fun in watching baseball.
Yeah, so we will get back to our last 3 bold takes, plus a little specialty, little throw in from MLB as well. So we'll do all that next.
Today's episode is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They're easily the most exciting way to play fantasy sports because it's just you against the numbers. Instead of betting against thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, there's college basketball on right now. March Madness is going on. Perfect opportunity to take advantage of PrizePicks. Again, I'm not too knowledgeable in the basketball field, so I stick to things that I know with the NHL. I tried to kind of coordinate it with our fantasy schedule and players that I wanted to do good so I could just cheer for them anyway, as I do with a lot of Jays players and pitchers and stuff like that. I don't like betting against the Jays or guys I like, so I might as well roll with them. You get the fan experience and a little bit more incentive with the betting. But I went with Adrian Kempe over points, Trevor Moore over points, and Quinn Hughes over points. Not sure about Trevor Moore or Quinn Hughes, but I know Kempe does have an assist, so I know I'm rolling with that. And you guys can start rolling it as well with PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit matchup to $100.
So as we get sort of into this second segment and the, you know, our last bunch of bold takes, I did want to mention JT Miller for my team has 7 hits tonight. So let's go there. You know, if you're not going to score, at least do something, make some hits, make some block shots, whatever. So our fantasy league for MLB will kick off. I'm not sure. Does it start this week? Is it like a shortened week or something?
That's what I was actually going to ask you. I think that's something we got to figure out. I was going to look at my lineup after this podcast. So I guess we'll figure that out for tomorrow.
You'd think me being the commissioner, I should know this thing, but you know, it's been with NHL going on, the podcast work. It's like baseball fantasy isn't quite, you know, top of mind quite yet, but it's starting to be because now I'm like, oh man, do I got to set my lineup? Whatever, right? We'll have some fun with that. Throughout the year, we'll keep you guys updated on how our league's going and where we stand because, you know, I can't stand losing money. So I'm praying to God this is going to be a good year. But I'm going to sort of kick us off here with the hot takes. This one is my little bit of a Jays downer one, which I didn't love doing, but I thought we got to have one in there that's maybe not, you know, that we're not boosting these guys up too much. I'm going to say George Springer will have a bad season. And I hate to say that, but I think so looking back at his last 2 years, then I'll tell you how I think he's going to do this year. Last year, 72 RBI, 21 home run, a 258 batting average. The year before, 76 RBI, 25 home runs, 267 batting average. This year, I think he's going to do 60 RBI, an 18 home runs, and a 235 batting average. Oof. Yeah. I don't know why. I just have a bad feeling with him in that leadoff spot. Things aren't going to pan out the way that we want them to necessarily. I think other guys will be moved up. Springer will fall down lower in the lineup. And it's just not going to be his most productive season. I pray that this doesn't happen, but it's something that was a little bit in the back of my brain, sort of going into spring training, and it's just still sort of, you know, it's just still in there, poking its head around.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring this up on the podcast, but you made a good segue for it. Unfortunately, last season we saw Vladdy have a very productive spring training and actually a pretty productive first couple weeks, and then just downhill from there. And George Springer, he's had a good spring training, so hopefully that doesn't fall in the same category as Vladdy. I'd be okay. I think you said 18 home runs. I'd be okay with that from George Springer. The 60 RBIs are a little low for me. It's the average from your number one hitter. That would be a huge hit for the Toronto Blue Jays, which George Springer led the Blue Jays last season in at-bats. You're getting 235 from your leadoff hitter. He's not going to be your leadoff hitter for much longer if he's hitting 235. You might get 3 weeks out of George Springer, and then he's going to be sent down in the lineup if he's hitting 235.
And like we said, I mean, these are just sort of our boldest, hottest takes. I hope to God this doesn't happen, but I put some numbers together and what I sort of and it was just a little bit of a feeling for me. Some guys, I get that feeling in my gut where it's going to be a good year, like the whole Vladdy bounce back that we said since, pretty much the start of us doing this podcast. This is the one that's sort of been sitting in me as well. It's like, oh, I don't know, something weird I get a weird feeling about it. I'll send it to you for your second one or third one, I guess.
Yeah, these predictions are always fun because when we did this on Dialed In Jays the year before, I think I had Alek Manoah as being the best pitcher on the Jays. And obviously I was very wrong. I don't think I could have been more wrong on my prediction there. So these bold statements are fun of the way that some we might hit and some we might be completely wrong on. Hopefully we're right on most of them and we're wrong on George Springer, but we'll see what ends up happening. And that's why I try not to throw that into the world, negative energy towards the Blue Jays, because we've already suffered enough as a fan base. But I'm going to take that into my third one. And this is another guy that I'm buying into in the spring training hype. Did it in some aspects last season, didn't really have a big sample size just due to his role on the team. But I am rolling with Ernie Clement. He's going to continue his success, and he is going to be an everyday starter on the Toronto Blue Jays by the end of the season. Nobody had Ernie Clement even making this team. I would say probably 90% of people wouldn't have Ernie Clement on this opening day roster just based off the offseason and going into spring training. And he's proved most people wrong. He's been looking good. The contact's unbelievable. He's starting to hit for more power. He's a guy that I think will be very successful in this league. If he can keep the consistency from off the bench to start, I think that's going to be the hardest adjustment for him, is going from playing pretty much every day in spring training to probably playing every other day at best. So with Ernie Clement, if he can show that consistency from the plate, that's what the Blue Jays need. We need people to hit the ball. So I'm relying on Ernie Clement to do that and become probably the everyday second baseman, I want to say. I think it's going to be tough for him to play third base. But the Blue Jays have thrown him in left field this spring training. So if he's going to be hitting the ball, I think the Blue Jays will try to get him out there in any fashion.
You know what? I know me and you have been on Ernie pretty like early. Like we were one of the first guys pretty early on, seeing how good he was and noticing the little things. Do I think that he is going to be an everyday player? I don't necessarily know if any of these, Kevin Biggio, IKF, Ernie Clement, David Schneider, do I think any of them are going to be every day at their position? No. I think this is going to be a ride the hot hand. We've said this a bunch of times. I get this is a good hot take, and I think Ernie's going to have a good year. But he's still young, doesn't have much experience. I think this is one that I'm not 100% with you, but I do believe that Ernie will have a good year.
He does have a little bit of major league experience. I know he played with the Athletics before in his career. Not that old yet. It is lacking a little bit of major league experience. Definitely not the everyday type of player that I'm hoping for him to be. But it's hot take for a reason. I'm going all in on Ernie Clement. I love the guy. I think he's going to be great for this Blue Jays team from the plate. A little bit more offensive production from guys that were in AAA last season. Hopefully David Schneider can follow him, but I'm all in on Ernie Clement.
I like that. And honestly, what I've seen so far is that might be it, is Ernie might be a better player than David Schneider. I hate to say it, David Schneider is one of those players that's a little bit boom or bust. He's all power or strikeout, it seems like. So I think we got to pray that he can figure it out again and have another good start to the season, but we'll have to wait and see. For my last one, I have Bowden Francis makes our fifth starter. I think he's going to push out Alek Manoah. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but we'll wait and see, because, we've done a lot of speculation on the Alek Manoah stuff and what's going to happen there. But I wanted to give Bowden a little bit of props. I think that he's going to get at least 100 innings pitched this year. He's going to have a 4.10 ERA with a 0.8 WAR, which not the craziest WAR, but for a fifth starter, I think that's pretty good on the high side anyway.
So you're saying that he's going to take this fifth starting role, fourth right now going into the season, but he's going to run with it, and be concrete fifth starter.
Fifth
If you
starter. Yeah.
I love that. If you can get Bowden Francis to be around a 4 ERA, that is so electric for this already good starting rotation. You get Kevin Gausman back, hopefully for the start of the season, still somehow unclear, which I found surprising after his performance today. But yeah, if we have to rely on Bowden Francis, I think that's a very good situation for the Blue Jays to be in. And thank God for Bowden Francis with whatever is going on with Alek Manoah.
Yeah. And you know what? I sort of talked about not having major league experience. Here's a guy that doesn't have a ton of major league experience. But it's just, he just looks very, very solid. And I sort of have to hype myself up for him because I think Alek Manoah isn't going to bounce back. I think it's going to take a lot of time, and maybe his time with this organization, if he can't bounce back this season, I think his time with this organization is over. Because I can't see him being a guy that's going to go and grind it out in AAA to try to make it back. He's going to want to go somewhere else and start sort of fresh there. But Bowden's a guy that's come up and proven himself, worked his way, battled it out. That's what we said we wanted for this fifth starting position, is a battle between some of these guys. Whoever plays the best gets this job, and that's what's happened. Well, sort of, with some injuries. But at the end of the day, I'm very excited for Bowden. I really hope he puts on a good performance.
No, it was looking like Bowden Francis was trending towards that fifth starting role anyway with Alek Manoah's performance. And like you said, just how good Bowden Francis has been with the opportunities that he's had last season when he was out of the bullpen and under a sub-2 ERA. This spring training, I believe it's around a 3.5. He did have a little bit of fumbles later on in spring training, but it's spring training. I mean, people are working on stuff, not taking too much merit from that. With Alek Manoah, it's an interesting take that you have. I sort of agree with it, and I hate to say that as well. And a guy that we haven't really talked about on this podcast because he's up and down all over the place as well. Another failed experiment that I have is Nate Pearson. I think you can almost put Alek Manoah in this boat if he doesn't have a successful season coming up. Nate Pearson, a guy that has electric stuff and throw over 100 miles per hour any given day. But when you're leaving that over the middle to MLB hitters and you're having trouble with command, as we've seen with Alek Manoah, it's tough to figure out. But then you have guys like Ryan Baraki, who was never really good with the Toronto Blue Jays, and now he's a very solid reliever in the MLB. So it's a weird experiment to have. You have Henny Cabrera coming in last season, not very good with the Cardinals, really good with the Toronto Blue Jays. So it's interesting to see. Maybe a new situation would fix Alek Manoah, but hopefully we don't even have to deal with that. Hopefully he can figure his stuff out, figure out his shoulder injury, if that's even a real thing, and come back and be successful with the Jays.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I think it's a good talker, and maybe we should spend some more time on Alek Manoah, but I feel like we've done a lot of that, and yeah, lately not as much because there isn't much to say right now, and it's all speculation. But I'm really happy for Bowden, and I hope that he can really go out there and put on a show and do some great things with this team. Just again, quick little add in for you guys. We do want you to join us on Thursday after the final pitch for our live stream, opening day live stream. We are going to be pumped. Brock Besser just scored. I am excited. Let's go. Sorry, kid. I had to throw that in there. It's like live updates with me right now.
If the Canucks can come back, I'm all in. Yeah, we're all Canucks fans here. I have Casey Smith anyway. I'd rather have the Canucks win than a fantasy win, even if it is a couple $100.
Talking about the NHL, where can people go to find out more about the Canucks if they want to?
Yeah,
or any NHL team.
If you're not a Canucks fan, then you picked wrong. But if you are a fan of the NHL, it's a perfect opportunity to go to our Locked On Sports Today channel on YouTube. If you're into the NBA, there's March Madness is going crazy right now. A ton of upsets already. I don't even think there's a bracket that's 100% anymore, and we're not even close to being at the end of the tournament. So it's always fun to watch a lot of upsets there. You guys want to take the opportunity anytime throughout the days, go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe.
Today's episode is brought to you, of course, by FanDuel. Talking about the brackets, say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel might help you bet on the tourney. Whether you're going to bet the big upset or the 1 seed because seems like nobody knows what's going on. It's time to go dancing on America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Carter, I think we've talked about you taking advantage of that, and I think we're going to get you set up going pretty close. I know you're a big Prize Picks guy. I'm a big FanDuel guy, so maybe we'll have to do like a swap. Maybe that's what we'll do with this $20 victory bet is you'll have to swap apps or something.
I was going to say, I'll gladly take your $20 and bet on FanDuel. I'll try it out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Bet on the Canucks, NHL. Not legal advice, but I am going to. That's what I'll say. Canucks all the way. Just visit fanduel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. Sorry, I just get very excited. You know, if the Canucks start to rally a comeback here, we can use all the points we can get. But sort of, Carter, I know we went through sort of our hot takes and what we wanted to see or thought maybe we could see this season. The MLB posted some predictions and a little bit of hot takes. You want to throw that at us?
Yeah, it's interesting. They had Bo Bichette as leading the AL in batting average, which is interesting because Bo Bichette's always up there in hits. If it was for his injuries this season, it would have been 3 years in a row. Bo Bichette, you think hits with him, and the hits do come with the average. So I guess in that sense, it does make sense. But you got guys like Corey Seager, you got guys like Marcus Semien in this league. You got Juan Soto now to deal with, Yordan Alvarez, maybe a little bit more of a sleeper, more of a power hitter. But it's interesting that they had Bo Bichette as the number one. Personally, I would not, but I love the Blue Jays hype. Give the Blue Jays stars a little bit of hype going into this season. You usually don't see that from the MLB too often, so I'm all in on this Bo Bichette prediction here.
And I just want to throw this out here. Expect a Rangers fall off. Corey Seager is not going to be last year Corey Seager. I'm just putting that out there. I think we had arguments last summer with guys about Corey Seager. He proved me and Carter wrong. Don't expect that from Corey Seager again. I'm putting that into the world. That's not going to happen. He's not going to be that electric. But Bo Bichette is very consistent, more consistent than Corey Seager is. And I think that this is I think it could be fair. I don't know if he's necessarily going to lead the league, but I think he'll be up there. I think this is a guy that's just very consistently getting a bunch of hits, getting on base. He's fantastic. I'm going to ride with the MLB. Sure, Bo Bichette leads the league in average. Why not? Let's roll.
Yeah, you might as well jump on board with the Blue Jays hype. As Blue Jays fans, we got to do that, right? And with Corey Seager, gonna have a ricochet shot from you, but I mean, with you get that Rangers series with Rougned Odor, still have some harsh feelings there. Screw that guy. Good thing he's not even close to the MLB anymore. But yeah, with Bo Bichette, you might as well get on the hype train. If it's not Vladdy, it's Bo Bichette. So might as well roll with the boys. But we're going to go into a little bit of spring training stuff here, as I mentioned earlier on the podcast. But Kevin Gausman, this guy is so good. 3 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, no walks, only 3 hits given up on 52 pitches. This guy is back. It's like he's never even left. He's always been here, just took a little bit of a vacation. He's earned it for the Blue Jays tenure. Just take a couple weeks off at that. Just kind of just relax before the season starts, and now he's back.
He's back. I'm all in. Like we said in the first segment here, Kevin Gausman is absolutely electric. I wish he was pitching opening day. I wanted to see him lead the Blue Jays out there, throw some balls past some guys, celebrate with the guys after an opening day win. Sadly, it won't happen, but hopefully he's going to be still around for the first rotation, and he can get in for at least a start soon here. Probably to lead off the Houston series. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the Astros series game 1, which is surprising that they didn't come out and say anything after this start here. He looked unbelievable, but I guess they're not ramping him up in time. But I would be fine if he's going to pitch like this. Throw him against the Astros, just cap him at like 65, 70 pitches.
Yeah.
Make him as a starter. We have the bullpen behind him. I mean, I guess you don't want to rush Kevin Gausman back if he's not ready, but he looked more than ready to me. So I don't know what the problem is here with Kevin Gausman. But speaking of that, if Kevin Gausman is not available to go for that first start, we do have a little bit of a question mark here. There's Mitch White. That's an option. Paulo Espino had a good spring training. Alek Manoah, I guess. I don't think he's supposed to be ready anyway, but I wouldn't want him pitching to begin with. And yeah, I believe that is. Oh, and Ricky Tiedemann is the other one. Can't believe I almost forgot him, the best prospect on the Toronto Blue Jays. Surprisingly, John Schneider said he's in the mix. Who do you see making that spot start if needed? And do you think Ricky Tiedemann should be the guy to get that spot start?
Of course, I'd love to see Ricky T get it. I think that's on every Blue Jays mind right now is we want to see what this kid can do. It's just, for me personally, if it's just going to be a single start, I don't necessarily know if I love throwing Ricky T in there. I think you give it to Paulo Espinal and uh, hope that he does well, and then he goes back down when Gausman is ready to return. And I think if you're going to give Ricky T the opportunity, I think you have to give him the opportunity, not a single start and then you send him back down. I think you bring him up and you let him see what he can do. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I still fully believe that Gosman is going to be out there. Um, but yeah, what do you think if he's not there for opening day or his opening start?
If it's not Gausman, I wouldn't hate a Mitch White spot start 3 innings and then Trevor Richards come in after that. I think Mitch White, just based off the upside he kind of offers compared to a guy like Paulo Espinal, Mitch White doesn't have any options left. So I think he's going to have to start with the major league team anyway, with whether that is a long reliever or helping out spot starting for the starting rotation. But yeah, like I said, I'd rather have Kevin Gausman pitch. But at the end of the day, Kevin Gausman has to miss one start to make 30 other ones. I'm going to be on board with that. With Ricky Tiedemann, I don't want him to start this at all, to be honest. I'd rather just have him start in AAA. But I think this speaks more to the fact that we could see Ricky Tiedemann pretty early in this season if one of the Blue Jays pitchers struggled. The fact that he's in the talk already to be the 5th starter on this team for the opening day stretch, or the opening week stretch, that says a lot to me. I think this guy could be very serviceable, obviously, in the MLB, and he should get the opportunity if he's ready. I just think that this starting rotation is pretty packed already, so I don't like that he's coming up with not a clear opportunity and not automatic innings. But maybe a guy we see come up in July and August, maybe you don't ramp him up as early in AAA and you get him down the stretch for this rotation.
Yeah. A few things I wanted to bring up. First of all, when I put out the tweet of me having zero respect for Rougned Odor, I was 16 years old, and that tweet still hits to this day. Zero respect for that guy. Zero respect for Rougned Odor. Somebody send this to him. I want him to know that I still hate him.
Unfortunately for you, I think Rougned Odor would probably have you. I don't know if you want to challenge that guy. He can throw. Like it looked like he threw a pretty mean right hook there, and Bautista ate it like it was nothing. So,
and I think he's he's not the biggest guy,
but no, he's not that tall. But
he's throwing hard. Like he clocked him. Zero respect for that guy, though. Zero respect. Then I want to bring up, of course, we're going live on YouTube right after the last pitch of Thursday's opening day game. We're going to be pumped. We're going to be talking about all stuff Blue Jays, answering your guys' questions, interacting with you guys. Hopefully you guys can bring the energy that it's a win and that we can actually all be excited and happy together instead of being sad and depressed. Like I pray that I'm not. And then Carter, there's a lot of stuff going on in sports right now. There's just a lot going on. And I think what's great is that we do have this streaming service to cover everything.
Well, if you have a busy day too, it's not only offered for an hour a day. You can tune in at any time, whether you're a morning person or a night owl like me and Braden are. It's the perfect opportunity to tune in. College basketball, you guys already know everything that's going on. Lots of random things you can tune into, but a lot of cool things happening, a lot of exciting moments to happen in sports. So just go to the Locked On Sports Today channel on YouTube and subscribe to our first ever national 24/7 streaming channel. Thank you guys for watching. I also just wanted to say that it seems like 85% of you guys around there aren't subscribed. You guys are coming back to watch the videos anyway. Helps us out a ton. Drop a subscription. We appreciate it. The likes, comments, support, everything you guys give us, any interaction you give us, we'll always be appreciative, whether it's positive or negative, but we do appreciate the positive ones a lot more. Braden, do you have anything else to add?
No, this is, I always have fun and I'm slowly just getting more and more excited. Like, I think every day you can see our faces when we're doing episodes. It's, if you're watching on YouTube and if you're listening, you can hear it in our voices probably that we're getting very, very excited about the opening day coming up here. I think one of these episodes, I will bring out my opening day bets I'll probably have money on something. I've been winning lately, surprisingly. So I'm going to try to ride the hot hand, as we always say, and keep things going with the Blue Jays.
Oh, you might as well. If you're on a winning streak, you might as well, like we always say, roll with the Toronto Blue Jays. You're already cheering for them anyway. You might as well throw some money on them, get that benefit as well. Blue Jays are going to win. You might as well get a win too.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.